Welcome to my candle making studio here at the Vintage Nest Home and Gifts in downtown Mount Holly. My name is Jeff Lee, the owner of the shop as well as the candle maker. Today I want to take you on a behind the scenes tour of the candle making process here at the shop. Okay, let's get started on our tour here today. As you can see, I'm applying the warning labels to the bottom of our candle jars. This is obviously a very important safety step in the candle making process for the end user. And now I am getting ready to apply the wicks to the candles themselves. We apply the adhesive dot and then use this little hand tool to try to center it the best we can at the center of the bottom of the jar. So everything's done by hand here. No real automation at all. And this is my last jar here. I think I'm making 6 candle jars or 6 or 8 wax melt containers today. That will be our pour. Again, we're adding the warning labels to the bottom of the wax melt containers. It's always good to have all of this prep work done before the candle pour. So here I'm measuring, I'm setting the scale so I can measure accurately the amount of wax I'm pouring. I know I'm making a certain number of candles, a certain number of wax melts, and that equals so many ounces, and that's what we're doing here is getting to that figure so that we know exactly how much fragrance oil to pour into the heated wax. The wax is heated to a certain temperature so that it will bond well with the oil. Now we're hand stirring. This process takes much longer than what I was showing in this video. We kind of skip through some of it. There's about 2 to 3 minutes of stirring. We want to make sure that all the wax is fully incorporated with the heated oil from top to bottom. And I'm getting the last few drops I see still remaining in the measuring cup. That way the candle is fragrant from the top all the way to the bottom, and that's very important for us. That's a fragrant candle for the entire life of the candle. Now we're hand pouring the wax. This wax is already cooled down to the appropriate pour temperature. I've poured I don't know how many candles, so I pretty well know exactly where the pour fill line is in the jars, and the wax melt containers are pretty easy. Just fill the cubes and slightly cover the divider bars, and it's filled and ready to go as well. So we are going to fill all of these, so it's like I'm doing 6 candles in 6 wax melts containers. Then we have to let all of this cure, but first, before we let it cure, we add on the wick stabilizing bar, which allows the wick to stand up straight in the wax and hopefully centered in the center of the candle. Now we're going to let it cure for a few hours. And this few hours cure time just allows us to be able to work with the jars after it's cured. But we still like to let them sit overnight, 2 nights before they're actually ever burned. So I just applied the lids, then we're closing up the wax melts cubes. We also print all of our labels in-house. I label the jars on the top for the main reason I personally do not like in my home decor to have a big candle label. I know sometimes you can turn the jar backwards, but on the lid, you still have the lid after it's blown out or extinguished after use. You'll probably put the lid back on it so you'll know what the candle is, but it can just sit pretty in your house without starting a war with any decor that's around it as far as visually. Now I'm applying the wax melt labels. If you haven't used wax melts before, you just need a warmer, and then you just pop a couple of cubes out. There's no fire. A lot of people like wax melts because they feel like it's a safer option. Candles are still great as well. Many of the wax melt warmers will have just a dish to hold it in, and you can just set the candle on it as well. And then they're ready to go into the sales floor, which currently we have our autumn collection, and that's what we're showing here on the sales floor, ready for your purchase. Harvest Gatherings has been one of our more popular ones in the years past. We'll see how well it does this season. Thank you for joining me today on my behind the scenes tour of the candle making process. Our fall collection is now available in shop at the Vintage Nest Home and Gifts at 119 South Main Street in downtown Mount Holly.